Hi, everyone.
We have a Patreon now.
Yeah, we've decided we're not going to be completely stupid about the money we're putting into this podcast anymore.
Yeah, we need it to make money. And for it to make money, it first needs to stop losing us money. And so that's where we're at.
It is, you can find it all at finalv3.zip if you want. That's the website URL, not a zip bomb. That's finalv3.zip, not a zip bomb.
I forgot we did that.
Welcome, one and all, to this episode of Final V3. This episode will make your dick burst, your heart spin, and your gut melt from laughter. This is Final V3.
He told us that he wrote this. He wrote this just for us on our podcast.
I wrote this just for you because otherwise your fucking intros are just like, oh, Sam, let's get you ready.
And the dick burst thing is better?
The dick bursting is true to form. That's how it is in here. Otherwise, it's like the intro to a really awkward Backyardigans podcast.
Sam, if you have never had your dick burst while recording, then I don't know what to tell you, man.
I don't know what you should tell me.
You and I are hosting two different programs. That's all I'm going to say. Hi, Billy.
Hi.
So for the two people listening who don't already know about Billy,
who haven't clicked off already.
Yeah, shut up.
Oh, please. They clicked on, man. Like other people in earshot literally went, holy shit, my dick will burst. They just clicked.
Is that a promise?
Anyone wearing open backs in a public space looked over at the person listening. They saw that and they're like,
3 inches away on the bus.
No, they looked at that motherfucker. They said, dude, you got to tell me what
everyone on the bus
to.
is crowding into the back.
If you're not listener, if you're not blasting this on Bluetooth speakers in a public space, then you're not listening to this the way God intended.
Absolutely not. Start showing the world.
Listen to Final V3 mid-coitus or it's not a real listening session.
Pause your cum for this.
This is getting demonetized immediately.
I just want to announce that I'm leaving the podcast.
Oh, please.
So, Billy is our editor.
Yes. Hey, future me. You're editing this, right?
Yes.
You're so pathetic.
Oh, man.
Yeah, back to work, dickhead.
Okay.
See? That was me. I'm the one that's editing this.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
So yeah, Billy edits it. He also runs PST, which is the network that we're on. How many fucking podcasts is it now?
So I'm working on 5 podcasts right now.
Is that including ours?
Soon to be 6. One of them is this one, only edit.
I mean, you provide some feedback behind the scenes.
I don't know if I'd call it feedback.
It started that way.
That's a really nice way to say that. Nowadays, I just hear something I disagree with, and I'm like, shut the fuck up.
It's straight up. It's like reading the comment section before it goes live.
Yeah, it's getting YouTube comments in advance.
Yeah.
While Billy edits, it's great.
So now you know where to change as a person.
Yeah, great.
It's kind of like a dual editing job and spiritual guidance.
I'm a fucking YouTube guru. What can I say?
You're like a moral compass, but wherever you point, I go in the opposite direction.
Like the devil and angel on your shoulder, there's a secret third one, and it's me.
Yeah, I just have 3 annoying bitches on my shoulder. You're one of them.
Who's the other 2?
Sam and me.
Aww.
Anyway, so we're
one of them is this podcast, which I edit.
Yeah.
And then I have my main YouTube channel, and podcast network and everything. Please Stop Talking,
which has
4 podcasts that I produce, do research on for some of them, sound design for one of them. Should I just like go through each of those podcasts and just
I feel like we're going to be talking about it a lot. So like listener, this isn't just him plugging his shit. This is like why we brought him on. So, you know.
Yeah, it's so that you can realize that my toes are being stepped on. Because I was the originator, and then I literally created talking into the microphone, and then Julian was like, I'll fucking steal that.
Well, no. It's called innovating in the space.
Oh, right.
Julian was like, I'm going to fucking Elvis Presley.
I'm going to do for podcasts what white people did for America.
Oh, bless. That's awesome.
Hey, guys, I'd like to announce I'm leaving the podcast.
The main podcast that I started out with was a comedy podcast called Please Stop Talking. It's the most basic one.
This the quintessential shooting the shit one.
It's shooting the shit. At first, we wanted it to be more like story time podcast because we have a lot of stories that we wanted to talk about. The problem is that no matter how eventful your life is, eventually you're going to run out of fucking stories.
Yeah.
So now it's a bit less that, it's a bit more shooting the shit.
You ran into the storytime animator conundrum wherever.
Yeah.
Eventually, you run out of stories, so you either have to pivot or just start making shit up.
But what did help is like at first it was like 4 people, and then we started getting more and more friends on YouTube and everything.
Hi.
So now we have a rotation of people. I'm always there because it's, my channel, my podcast. But we have Julian is one of the main hosts that
Hi.
shows up sometimes. Brendan, Sheena, Corbin, Cameron. We have Mandy from Mandalore Gaming, Ten, and Brendan Brendaniel.
Yes.
Yeah, and a lot of times we also get quite another guest just because it's just friends shooting the shit. So
I've seen at least
friends
one or two comments that are just accusing Sam and I of pillaging
pillaging.
pillaging PST guests.
Well, where's the lie?
Yeah.
Where?
Anyway.
So that's like the quintessential one. The only big difference from that podcast to other podcasts is how I edit. The way I edit podcasts in general is
He's fucking crazy.
It's some psycho shit that I learned while I was working at a Christian radio station.
I did not know this about you.
Years ago. Yeah, I used to work there, and they were asking me shit like, oh, could you make this remote segments when somebody would go out and start like interviewing people?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they would be like, okay, well, you have to make a segment out of this so that we can attach it randomly throughout the day in the 24-hour section, because
Man, we got to get you on Sex FM at some point. I gotta get your help on that project. It's so much. Anyway, continue.
And I learned from editing that, because how we edited it was like, we had to make sure that people weren't sounding too dumb. Because the thing is, everybody sounds dumb when they're talking just off the top of their head in front of a microphone. Everybody's kind of flabbergasted to have a microphone in front of their face.
Yeah, if they have no mic etiquette, they're not used to.
It's a lot of and sometimes I'm a bit far, sometimes I'm a bit close. So what I learned to do is like control the flow of conversation. For any podcast I do, and this one as well, a lot of recordings, there's a lot of silences, there's unwanted words. Sometimes somebody is going to say the same thing twice by accident. Little things that kind of kill the flow of a conversation. I basically, when I'm editing, I just get rid of all of that.
You're one of the best invisible editors that I've ever worked with, if that makes sense.
I'm going to be honest, I'm dumb as shit for a lot of things. I think I'm really incredibly good at this one stupid fucking thing that is useless for most people.
Well, no, it's not just...
Okay, I don't want to be that guy where I'm like, oh, I'm the fucking best. Because there's 100%
I'll say
fuck-ups
it,
all
I'll
the
say
time.
it for you. No, it's the speed in which you work, plus the amount, plus the the quality is like no one else I know comes close.
I put out a video a while ago of like me editing, and people were like losing their shit because they were
Sam
like, oh
and
my
I
God,
were losing our shit at that.
When I edit audio, I edit in real time.
What the fuck?
Just by looking at the waveforms, because I'm at a point in my life where I've worked in audio for so long that by looking at a waveform, I know when it's going to be somebody saying like or a superpower that is just fucking useless. But yeah, that's like the only big thing that differentiates anything that's on the PSD network, is because it's edited by me, and I have a very unique way of editing and making conversations flow.
Yeah. So now I'm curious, because Sam, you and I have both done a lot of this too, and we all three of us tend to edit podcasts the same general way. Like our goals are the same, even if the methodologies are very different. See, you learned how to edit for conversational flow through a Christian radio station. I learned it by doing Game Grumps animations.
Yeah,
because they don't edit it at all. Because they're just raw recordings. And Sam, where'd you pick that up?
Sorry, I was just taken aback by seeing you both learned how to edit conversations through religious means. I mean, fuck, dude, I was just like really into film as a growing up person. So I was just into editing for cinema, and by cinema I mean fucking backyard videos that sometimes had lightsabers in them.
That's the classic, though. I dude, I did the same. Starting out doing little videos with my cousin with little puppets and stuff.
Oh fuck!
Conversations and dialogue like that. That's super intuitive. If you listen to people talk long enough, you're going to be able to catch how they speak and kind of imitate it.
It's a skill.
Through editing.
It's a skill. You build it with time. It's a sensibility you got to build up, same as anything else.
Yeah.
You just fucking reminded me of some of the first video stuff I ever did, where I made stop motion with stuffed animals for my sister.
Yes, dude. That's so awesome. I remember back when YouTube wasn't a bunch of people being like, testing the most expensive versus cheapest option at Subway.
People still do that shit, man.
I'm saying that's right now.
Yeah, okay.
Back then, I remember getting super into claymation videos, and I watching like these really shitty fucking videos.
Lego animation, dude.
And I remember begging my mom to buy movie grade plasticine.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and she actually bought it for me one year. I made so many movies with it was a green Video Now camera. I don't know if that still exists.
I have never
No, it
heard
doesn't.
of it.
I'm a dumbass. Of course it doesn't exist. Kids have phones.
I begged my mom for Anime Studio.
Yo, that's
oh
tight.
my God, I had that.
Yeah, right? It wasn't very good.
But neither was I, so it kind of worked out.
Cool thing, the people who made that are also the guys currently developing Clip Studio. So I guess it worked out for them.
Fucking wild.
Right?
That's awesome.
No, their programs fucking sucked ass in the 2000s, but they just kept at it.
Most things sucked ass except Limp Bizkit.
Limp Bizkit and Photoshop was pretty good back then.
That was the peak.
That was it, baby.
Cultural peak was Limp Bizkit and Photoshop.
I didn't have the taste at the time to know whether a fucking animation software was good or bad. It was just, can I use this or can I not?
I literally didn't know of any alternatives. This was just what I think I quite literally just Googled animation program and Anime Studio came up.
And the fucking website said it was what the pros use. So if it's good enough for them,
would they lie?
it's simple as that.
They had rudimentary, like, vector-based bone animation stuff. It was so ass, man.
That's awesome.
It was like you couldn't even do frame by frame. It was like you had, or maybe you could, and I was a stupid kid, but the way I understood it is you had to do, like, rig-based animation. It was the most simplistic. Like, you couldn't swap between anything. It was, this is too in the weeds. It sucked, listener. That's all you gotta know.
Don't say it's too in the weeds. It's fine.
It's a bunch of terminology that only animators will understand.
You'd be surprised what people can catch on normally.
We literally just talked about this in the last episode.
Yeah, I know. I edited that episode, dude.
Yeah.
I was
way.
I was there.
Dude, I didn't.
I was there.
I'll fucking jump out. Yeah, it's like what we were talking about was that as long as you're sticking with why this stuff mattered to you, people will follow. And people were following, and you just fucking pushed them off a cliff. How's that make you feel, Julian?
Vindictive.
It sucks to be around him when near a cliff.
Wow. Okay, so I thought this was going in a real direction.
Push you down.
There was a pause.
That was a pre-canned response for something that I expected to be more real. Sorry.
What the hell? What you were thinking you were thinking I was just gonna fucking put you on blast in a recording?
I guess I was.
Come on.
Listen, we haven't recorded in a minute.
I haven't recorded even. Oh no, that's not true because I recorded Pondering Spooky Tapes this week,
which is another PST thing.
Which is another PST thing. Yeah.
One of the other shows you do it with Mandy Mandalore Gaming.
Specifically, this one is with Mandy. I had a moment 2 years ago or 3 years ago where I'm still obsessed with horror movies, but I'm like specifically obsessed with horror movies from the 80s that are really fucking crappy with really interesting background info. Because horror movies, I feel, they're made by people with the dream, and that dream kind of sucks, but they still do it.
You're in the right place to talk about that.
What salt of the earth shit,
Yeah.
like it's so awesome, and I really love sharing
like peak low budget filmmaking type shit.
Amazing. It's like micro budget, dude. They had a hot dog and 3 cents, dude,
Yeah.
and they got a whole crew. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So I just really wanted to make that show with Mandy because we're both obsessed with that stuff. I do a shit ton of research on a movie, and then we watch the movie with it's usually me, Mandy, that know about the movie, and two other people that I have no fucking idea what it is about.
I love recording those, man.
I just talk about the history and the background and behind the scenes information. We show a lot of behind the scenes stuff for movies in the video version, a bunch of clips, but it's also still very PST because we don't shy away from bits.
Yeah.
Like even though I do research and I have my little notebook with, I have like a few notebooks for taking notes, but I have one that has like the director who wrote it.
Legitimately, I did not even know that you did research. I thought you were just a walking encyclopedia of 80s horror stuff. So
It really depends on the movie.
Leprechaun in the Hood, I assume you just kind of knew about.
I knew about that one.
Dude, I fucking met the director of Leprechaun. when I was
I
in high
know.
school.
That's cool.
He talked a lot about his lawsuits.
I'm like going through like my notebook, and Tammy and the T-Rex, we just did an episode on that. I knew that stuff already.
Okay.
That movie is like, because that movie is from 94, and it's like it's one of those movies that's just so everybody mildly interested in crappy 80s movies, they know about this fucking thing.
Dude, when are you gonna have me on for Christmas and we're gonna do Elves? Fuck, I want to watch Elves on that shit so bad.
Next year probably.
Gotta do it.
Pondering is mostly a lot of research on movies that I've watched a billion times, and I think it's really refreshing to rewatch it with commentary track, which I often do. Oh, dude, actually, real quick, can I just say, this is probably the only podcast where we did an episode on the Bye Bye Man, and I read the original book. I don't think anybody has ever done a review of the Bye Bye Man that has actually read the original source material of the book.
Why the fuck did you even do the Bye Bye Man to begin with?
Because it's fucking hilarious. That movie is so fucking funny.
Pee Pee Poo Poo Man.
The Pee Pee Poo Poo Man is fucking funny. Don't think it, don't stink it.
It's like Brendan's right here with us. And it's like you do the D&D one as well, and that one's evil because so much editing goes into it.
I've been I just cracked open a beer earlier because I just finished a month-long episode.
Jesus
Took a really
Christ.
long time to
Like
it was-
1 month of editing for a fucking Fallout one shot.
Yeah. We record, to be fair, this specific one we recorded in person. It was at the wedding. Do you remember that?
Oh, I remember not being there for it. Yes.
I mean, you weren't there because you had other things to do
I don't
in
play
Montreal,
D&D.
but we finished recording and then we went back to Montreal and we went to whichever, it was probably a party at the Airbnb you guys had. That's a one shot. We have a show called Perilous Storytelling, which is a Dungeons and Dragons tabletop RPG board game, whatever, show. It's mostly me and Daniel. I fucking hate Dungeons and Dragons and tabletop RPG podcasts so much.
Oh, you talked to me about this. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate them so much that because this was the first Patreon stretch goal that we had, and the first thing I remember telling myself was, if we make it, I want the production and everything around it to be the antithesis of like every big role-playing game podcast, because I just can't stand it. It's too technical.
What bothers you about them?
They're too fucking long. They're all like 4 to 3 hours.
Oh, right. Because most of it is just like, yeah, it's about like the talking about the technicalities of the game rather than actually the role playing.
Yeah.
It's a D&D host telling people to roll for initiative over and over again, and like everyone telling each other what
and
stats
then
they
waiting,
have.
calculating, and then somebody's like, oh wait, how do I do that again? Oh, let me get my book. And then it's like 10 minutes of trying to find in the appendix.
Fucking
like,
kill me.
that stuff is not the fun stuff. What's magical about D&D is the fact that you can use your imagination to make storylines with your friends.
It's the only reason anyone plays it.
Yeah, I want to focus on that. So the podcast, I edit it completely differently than the others because I get rid of all the technical aspects except some stuff, So instead of over-explaining the technical aspects and over-rolling, sometimes I'll get rid of roles just to focus on the character speaking. And a major part of getting people into the world that Brendan is creating, or recently Corbin did a holiday one-shot. The big thing I do is I make sure to sound design it as much as possible and make it like
You
it's
place
an
people
animated
in the world. There's a ton
Yeah.
of work that goes into Foley and sound design.
I sound design it like we're outside, so I'm gonna make it sound like we're outside. I'm gonna make a convulsion.
Yeah, I remember sending you a bunch of
reverb
convulsion reverbs and shit that you ended up using.
Yeah, and it's gonna sound like you're outside. Now we're inside in a bar in a tavern. I get like an ambience, like you're actually in a tavern. And when we speak in character, it sounds like we're actually in the cavern. And sometimes somebody's gonna say something with an inflection where I feel like they would naturally like move and like it would have like a cloth sound. So I add a little cloth sound. I want to make sure that people listen to these, they can lose themselves in the adventure with us instead of having to put that on hold to be like,
DM, how do I animal handle?
Yeah.
I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
I don't like that.
What do you mean? Why don't you like that?
I don't fucking know, man. It's because it's fucking boring as hell. That's why episodes are so short. Like people, I get a lot of messages from people being like, why is Subliminal Space only an hour-long episode? It's like, because we recorded 2 hours 30 and I got rid of all the boring bits.
Yeah.
It's not a good flow to have so much crap.
I'm honestly surprised that Sam and I are able to have managed to keep things at the amount of recording that we have. I always feel like whenever we're done recording, it's like, oh, there's so much shit we gotta cut.
I mean, you lose like maybe 10 minutes per episode, but that's pretty normal because most of it is just and pauses.
Right.
But that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like you're pretty good on it, and especially you're pretty good on it because you've been working with me for years.
Yeah, I learned from the
Yeah.
mid.
So I was just gonna say the thing that Billy's been doing that's probably helped us the most is that we have these little devices we strap on our wrists, and every time we say or ah, it fucking stabs us a little
It
bit.
shoots
Yeah.
you in the fucking foot.
Yeah.
I can't even
It's
walk
called-
anymore,
yeah,
man. I can't walk, but my podcasting skill has gone through the roof. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that much.
Dude, my podcasting skills gone through the roof, and my grip strength is my hands just not really working right anymore. I have no feeling above the wrist.
You don't need to walk to record.
Sometimes the device isn't even on, and I just kind of fucking.
Yeah.
But yeah, the episode I just finished is a one shot that we recorded for the Fallout tabletop RPG made in modern D20, and it took a really long time because it was recorded in person. So everybody had their own mics, whatever.
Oh, because you have to do all the extra work of like cutting out the handling sounds and the echoes. I did
Yeah.
some obnoxious handling sounds for you there.
Shit like that needed to be taken out, but also I did the most. I didn't have to do it, but I decided to make sure that it's as accurate as possible to the Fallout universe and specifically Fallout New Vegas because So what I did is I downloaded all
This
the
entire
sound
podcast is just an excuse for Billy to talk about all the shit he's been working on at this point.
because nobody fucking knows how much work goes into anything I make. I'm so upset.
It's the most relatable thing that you've said so
I'm
far.
so
Yeah.
mad. I put so much stupid amount of work into something nobody will ever fucking
Yeah.
understand.
And when you do your job right, no one thinks about it. But when you fuck it up, that's when everyone writes comments.
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
no one's ever gonna compliment like, oh yeah, the audio balancing is like fucking. It's so nice. It's seamless. It goes down easy.
No one's ever gonna be like, oh, that was a really seamless transition. I really didn't notice whenever those two people talked over each other because you made them not talk over each other. Good job.
You make sure that it's invisible. And when it's invisible, you did a good job.
Yeah.
But like to go back to what I was saying, I downloaded all the sound libraries from the Fallout games to make sure that the sounds were accurate to the games.
And then you hated most of them and then just took liberties
I
anyway.
hated most of them. And by liberties, I mean I used the sounds, but I layered them with better sounds. So like when a Deathclaw would just go like, it was such, I hate, Deathclaws sound so menacing in the game, but when you like listen, they sound fucking weak, like super weak. There's like no vibration or guttural vibrations coming from like, like they're like, but they don't have anything guttural.
Does the game do like some mixing live that it doesn't do in the source sound? Or
I was just gonna say, I think it might just be the fact that like whenever you're listening to it in the setting of an entire game, you know, and you can hear ambience and footsteps and guns and shit.
I mean,
it just kind of
I guess, but what I did was I took that, what I considered to be a weak sound, and I added debris falling, so like big rocks falling, and I added some sounds of tremors, like very, very hidden, and it sounds like this.
And then you hear a second.
And I know that you guys can't hear it, but I found that it really helped. And that's an example
sure.
of the stuff that I tried to do to just bump it up.
Yeah.
I'm sure listeners are going to hear the difference. You don't tend to be subtle whenever you play sound design.
That's one thing, right? Because okay, I used to work in the video game industry, and back like those are games where you have visuals, you have game mechanics,
You
whatever
did, like,
to help.
You interned at Ubisoft for
Ubisoft. Yeah. You have like, you know, a bunch of other things to help you with bringing up the sound. It doesn't have to be like super stupid powerful, but when it comes to an audio only podcast, I wouldn't normally make like cloth sounds that loud or somebody punch it. You know, I make it exaggerated as hell.
Right, because some people are listening in their cars and they're not going to hear subtle things, but also because like there is no other visual aid, so the sound has to do all the work.
So the heavy lifting is the audio, so it's going to be really intense for no fucking reason, you know? Like explosion sounds I use all the fucking time. There's like I know there are like there's like sounds that I use because I think that they have a specific characteristic that adds a nice boominess to any sound, and that's Explosion Complex 3 and Duffel Bag Drop 1.
I can already hear Duffel Bag Drop 1 because you use it in fucking everything.
Yeah, because it sounds good, and when it's layered, you don't hear it. But yeah, I do a lot of work on them, and I wish more people listen, because the thing is, the sound design is, yeah, sure, whatever. It's a lot of work. It's a stupid amount of work, but most of the magic comes from the fact that we're all such good friends, and Brendan is a stupidly good DM. Holy shit. He is one of the most creative people ever. His word vomit is fucking magic.
It's because it's the skill he's honed since he started doing anything.
It's not just about the fact that he can talk about stupid shit nonstop. That
he's really, really good at keeping track of structure while he's driving into shit. So like any thread that he drops in, he'll keep in the back of his mind, and he'll pick it up at some point while he's talking, and it feels planned in a way that it cannot possibly actually be.
Yeah.
I mean, like on his live streams.
I mean, with D&D, he's better because like he literally does have the time to plan. But like most of the shit that people remember is stuff that he just makes up on the fucking spot.
And one of the most incredible things that he is so good at is mixing those dark subjects in D&D with comedy, lighthearted stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah. No, something that I've come to really appreciate about fucking everyone in this extended friend group, from like Brendan and talking with Ed more, is just like the amount of intuitive grasp of storytelling that everyone's kind of developed with time. It is insane, because after I kind of drifted away from wanting to do narrative filmmaking stuff when I was growing up, a lot of the stuff that I was interested in was documentary and docufiction specifically, where you're taking just this huge conglomerate of information and trying to find the story in it. When I was in high school, I did this insane deep dive research into this buried jewel where clues to find it were hidden in a children's picture book. It's called Masquerade. It's a fucking insane thing.
What?
And the people who found it were lying about finding it. There was a whole conspiracy. It was fucking crazy.
What?
And I collected an insane amount of footage. I found
That's really fucking cool. What the fuck?
Dude, at some point I'll dig it up and refresh myself, because I literally went into newspaper archives to find primary sources.
I have never heard of this before.
Dude, you might as well make that fucking video, you know?
Yeah,
Holy
good
shit.
God.
Yeah.
That's an incredible, 1 million views for this man.
Thank you. That's how it happens, folks.
Get this man a true.
Yeah, just call it like the most fucked up and crazy children's ARG ever.
The most fucked up at children's ARG made by children.
Yeah, there have been videos and documentaries made on this, but they've all taken different angles. And the thing that I wanted to do was really dig into this was a huge thing. But yeah, ever since then, and obviously shit like Nirvana, the band, the show, which permanently damaged my brain chemistry and all this other stuff. Like the ability to find stories in things that were not meant to be, the ability to kind of create meaning from bullshit it's just fun, and you guys are very good at it.
I actually did a semester when I was in film school.
I didn't know you were
God,
in
I'm
film
sorry.
school. I'm so sorry.
I hated film school, but I loved documentary class. Like doing documentary was the best. I fucking loved it. And I still use those skills for specifically Press Start Turbo. See how good I am at transition? Clap, clap,
That's the
clap, 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 clap.
No, you can put a sound effect in. You're so good at Foley.
Okay, here's a sound effect. Here's another one. Here's another one.
That's good
Holy
stuff.
shit.
Run it back. Nice.
So, Press Start Turbo is the video gaming one.
That's my video gaming one. This is the newest one. This is the one that is mostly with me and Cameron.
Yes.
Sorry.
He's just getting broken up because he cares so much about video games.
I fucking love video games so goddamn much.
Dude, finish the fight.
We start by talking about games we played, projects or surrounding games, news surrounding games, and then we interview somebody in the industry.
Yeah.
God, I can't even remember who we interviewed. We interviewed so many people. We interviewed the developers of Dredge. We interviewed
Cuddly Carnage fucking thing.
the guys from Cuddly Carnage. Oh god, I love them. They're so fucking fun.
I'm a bad person. What's that one? They hunted me down at last MagFest to show me their video gaming, and we got them on. And
Raw Metal.
Raw Metal. Thank you.
I just love talking with devs. They're so cool. We have one coming up with Eric Browning, who worked on a lot of the art for Blizzard.
Oh, that'll be eventful.
Oh, so much talking shit. I don't think somebody could hate companies so much. It's kind of amazing. This one is upcoming, and it's about canceled games, and I'm very excited because it's just a great interview. But then after that, whatever we talk about in the interview usually becomes what we talk about as the main topic.
Yeah.
You know, for example, we did an episode on the trajectory of modern gaming, which was, I think were you on that?
I forgot.
I think you were on that. You are on that.
Okay.
Yeah. We talk about, because we talk with Zalavir.
Oh, right.
About,
And
we talk about Zalavir.
I wasn't even on the fucking interview, and it pissed me off.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know you cared.
Yeah. Zalavir.
True. We talked about the current trajectory of modern video games, sustainable video game development, and why and how games have ballooned this big. Then we did another episode on the reality of games journalism.
And you interviewed like an actual games journalist for that one. I say this like that's hard to do. They're way easier to get a hold of than developers.
Yeah. The interview in that episode is not a games journalist.
Oh.
It was specifically somebody that was part of the IGN union.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, so we talked about that, but outside of that, I did a lot of research outside where I talked to games journalists about the conditions that they have to work with. And what I did was basically I brought up during our interviews outside of the episode, I brought up a lot of criticisms that normal people have towards modern games journalism. And then from what they said, I would extrapolate, I would like find the reasons why those things happen. And it was mostly a lot of corporate meddling and bullshit, which is the best. But it's been awesome to do Press Start Turbo. It's definitely the least popular show that I make, but I do not want to stop because it's so fun to talk with creative people outside of my field. And I loved it so much that I started doing game development as a hobby just because it's so fun, dude.
Yeah. I am very interested to see how that part of that
Yeah.
thing develops.
I was gonna. I'm gonna talk about the game jam I just did in the upcoming episode where we talked about canceled games, which is hilarious.
Oh boy. Oh man. Oh brother.
Yeah, it is what it is. Hey.
All right.
Yeah,
well,
that's all my shows.
yeah. So why do you do so many? What's wrong with you?
Why I do so many? Because
This is a lot of work.
it is a lot of work, but I'm at the point where, well, first off, I find it gratifying to be so creatively
Yawn. Whatever.
because everything I make is so creatively different.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I make an episode of Press Start Turbo, it doesn't feel like I'm making an episode, like I'm doing Perilous Storytelling. Those are so completely different in editing, in style, in everything. Same with Please Stop Talking. Even though it's the most basic, it's totally different from Pondering.
Yeah.
Because I don't do research for basically every week I release a new episode of a podcast that I work on the network, but it's always something that is so drastically different that I never get bored, and I'm always super excited to show off what I found.
Remember when you told us that we would get burnt out if we tried to even get close to doing the amount that you just do normally?
Yeah, but I told you that the difference is that you are making the same podcast every week that you were saying.
We don't know
That's
yet.
different.
Sam, what do
That's
you,
different.
Sam, what do you think? You've been sitting your white ass down and listening for most of this. Speak up.
Yeah, speak up. What are you shy? What are you scared of me? Do I fucking scare you?
Yeah, I'm
Do
absolutely
I fucking
terrified.
scare
Scared
you?
of fucking French Canadians, dude.
I genuinely just have not known where to interject because most of this conversation has been about stuff that I don't know about, but Julian does, which is so it's mostly I don't know.
I mean, there's the reason why it's different for me is because like I said, all the shows I make are fully just completely different.
Right.
But what you were saying is you wanted to do 2 main episodes a month with interspersed small episodes. That's a lot because it's all technically the same thing. And I don't want you guys to burn out because you're forcing yourself to do episodes.
Well, the idea was that doing them with different people completely changes the way that it feels to record, right? That's why we're leaning more into the guest episodes.
What happens when you run out of people? There's only 2 million of those, I think.
It's exactly the same as running out of stories, I think. Yeah.
Basically.
I don't know. Sam?
What?
Okay, I've told you before, you need to get better at yes and. So we're going to start a little yes and. I'm a sexy
All right.
barista at Starbucks, and
Okay.
you're just coming inside, and my butt is protruding from my apron.
What's crazy is I don't want to respond to any of this.
Well, it's the awkward thing here is that I'm ace, Sam, so I can't really reciprocate here, but
Yeah, so you're the only one that can fucking...
you're in an awkward position here, you know?
Yeah, you're basically the savior of the podcast right now.
I'm literally in the fucking Discord UI. I'm sandwiched between Billy's profile picture and the fucking panda from Xbox Live.
2 animal profile pictures, and this guy starts
2
sweating
animal
bullets.
profile pictures, and I'm the only person here. I'm having flashbacks to working at the animal shelter. It's fucking...
Oh my fucking god!
Wow.
Yeah, podcasts are hard work. That's really the takeaway here. We're like the 21st century factory workers in a way.
I mean, the thing is, it doesn't have to be. You don't have to be stupid about fucking editing or planning or anything.
Just phone it in, guys. That's the real takeaway. Just fucking record and then send it off. Adobe has a thing now where they have a podcast
I mean,
editor.
you can 100% do that if you want, but the thing is, I think people can really tell when you put your heart into fucking art. Even though some people might say podcasts aren't art, you know?
I'm trying to think of
Art
any option
is the way
to
you
respond.
talk about stuff.
I'm
not
trying to
like
respond in any way, Billy, that is not just the biggest asshole thing I could possibly say, but it's so hard. It's so hard to fight that because
is it genuine?
No, it's just I'm trying to think of a way to just be well, yeah, no shit is the only real response. And,
saying no shit, dude, I could talk about art. Let's talk about real fucking art,
okay,
dude.
yeah, let's talk about Scorsese.
Dude, I remember one of the most, the biggest art moments for me as somebody who likes art and wants to understand it better was going to a museum. I was looking at a canvas that was just a single color, and I was just thinking to myself, like, that's stupid. Like, that's just one color.
I could do
But
that.
then, like, yeah, I mean, that's literally how, before you understand what goes into it, that's what you say.
Yeah.
And I remember saying that out loud, and the actual artist was there.
No, you did
And
not,
No,
dude.
no,
No.
That was awesome because that was perfect. Because the thing is, he was there, and the first thing he did, he understood. He came up to me, and we had a genuine conversation. Instead of him being like, "Shut the fuck up," he was like, "Well, you see, that's what he came up to me and he was like, well, it would be easy, but," and then he started going through the method on how he made the art.
Wow.
And how it was actually very difficult to get this specific shade and to get it to look that good on the canvas, and it took really long and everything. I don't know, there's something really magical about the fact that you can just one canvas that's just completely blue. It can take so long and so much work to get it just perfect. The art isn't the fact that you're looking at a blue canvas, it's everything that went into it. And that's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's also not necessarily like more effort means better art.
It's not.
It's more that art is a conversation about how we make meaning out of stuff than it is like a thing that you can draw a boundary
Yes.
around.
100%.
Like, in that case, all of the effort, it sounds like, was the thing that gave that blue canvas meaning. Whereas, like, if it was the exact same art in the exact same tone, but he just ordered it from Redbubble, got it screen printed, and somehow it came out in that exact form, it would mean something slightly different.
If he just told Midjourney to make a blue canvas, it wouldn't have. Then it would have a different meaning. You know, it would be.
That's the thing, though, because people will dismiss art like that. Like, oh, it's just a blue canvas. Oh, it's just a toilet bowl in a fucking museum. How do you know how hard it is to get a toilet bowl in there?
I've fucking tried.
They have to tell so many people not to shit in that thing every day.
And every day I come back and they turn me away.
What the fuck? What is art if not shit out my ass?
In a public place, but it's like performance art.
Yeah.
But no, I'm just like taken aback that you came in and like was vocally a know nothing, and the artist was the person who made the thing responded in a normal, compassionate, constructive way.
I'm not surprised, really, because if you're an artist that genuinely cares about what you're making, being understanding in that way and being empathetic is a big part of it.
Yeah, but it's so
This
easy
wasn't internet. This was a person.
You know what? You're right.
This was
front of you.
this was
Yeah,
also in person. This wasn't just like
Yeah, you're right. Never
in
mind.
person. It's much easier to be empathetic.
Yeah.
which is so awful to say. Holy shit!
We've been saying this since before YouTube existed. This ain't new.
I know. I remember somebody told me at one point empathy would solve about 90% of human problems, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh man.
No, I think
I don't want to hear
I
that.
think about that a lot.
if you hear that phrase and you genuinely think to yourself like, oh my God, you're so true, maybe try to be more empathetic in real life as much as you can. Because sometimes there's stank ass bitches that you fucking hate, and that's totally fine. That's human nature. And I hate a lot of people too.
For example.
Yeah,
No.